What is up, everybody? This is my very first edition of being on the Let Loose Network. Let Loose podcast. My homeboy Jordan James and Sam Bam were so graciously nice to offer me a spot on the Let Loose uh, program. I guess you could say podcast, whatever you want to call it. And not just me, but along with some others to do some of our own segments and bring our our perspectives and opinions to the Let Loose platform. So, like I said, this is my very first one. I have some previous podcast experience. I got a bunch of YouTube videos out there, so if you want to after that, check me out, and I'll provide the links down below. But right now, we're in the middle of the NFL free agency, one of the best times of the year, and this free agency is fucking off the chain so far. Um, we got today, as of what 3/18, Leighton Lander Esch, linebacker for the Cowboys, announced his retirement due to his neck being all fucked up from all the brutality that he has taken. He's like a Sean Lee 2.0. Sean Lee was very good, and Leighton Vander Esch is very good as well. And just like Sean Lee, neck issues or injury issues, really captivated, their ceiling in their NFL career and kind of cut them short, which sucks because I'm a Cowboys fan and I would have loved to see Sean Lee play a little bit longer and obviously, Leighton Vander Esch to keep continue to play. But that's part of the game. You signed up for it. They know what they're getting into. So it is what it is, I guess. You also got Jason Kelsey retiring, which I don't want. I didn't want. I really, really, really wanted him to play one more year because I think whether or not the Chiefs win next year for a three-peat, the first team to ever do it, I think Travis Kelsey would hang it up regardless. If they lose, if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, whatever, I think he's got one more season in him to where he's all in, and I think he's going to be done regardless. I mean, maybe if they win, he might go for a four-peat, but a three-peat's never been done, so I guarantee you a four-peat definitely ain't happening. But I would have loved to see them two retire together so they can go into the Hall of Fame together. But maybe this is for the best so that I'm not saying this will happen, but Travis can induct Jason, and then when it's Travis's turn, Jason can induct him into the Hall of Fame. So I guess it's however you look at it, which I would have kind of just liked for them to retire, together, but it is what it is. Fletcher Cox is retiring. Long career. He's a bit. I fucking hate Philly. I hate their fans. I got a whole bunch of fans that are Philly fans, and you all can kiss my ass. I don't care. And you'll say the same thing about me as a Cowboys fan, but it's all love. And I actually do like. I'm not like your typical Cowboy fan. I do like Philly. I love Jalen Hurts. I actually wanted him to get drafted to the Cowboys. I loved him in Alabama and then Oklahoma. I think he kind of got fucked over by Tua, but it is what it is. They both have had pretty decent NFL careers so far. And like I said, Fletcher Cox is just one of those players that everyone respects him. It don't matter if he had an up down or up year, down year. Everyone knows what he's about and what he brings to the table. So I'm kind of glad to see his ass retiring, so I don't have to deal with him when Cowboys play Philly, even though Cowboys continue to beat Philly. But that's another story. And as far as notable retirement, Aaron Donald announced his retirement after 10 years. And I know he's been on the cusp or on the bubble and back and forth, kind of like Jason Kelsey with retiring. But he played 10 years and he was an all star, or not an all star, but an all pro. And he had like every fucking accolade that you could think of in those 10 years. even in his rookie season. I'm pretty sure he won Rookie of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but it's just crazy out of the blue. You would think I think he had one more year left on his contract, so surprising that he wouldn't play that last year. But just like Jason Kelsey and Leighton Vander Esch, just the game was just a fucking brutal game, and even though you get paid millions of fucking dollars, sometimes it's not worth your body. Because if you look at some of these older players that played back in the 70s, 80s, early 90s, they're all fucked up because of the brutality. And unfortunately, they didn't have the medicine and, the technology that we have today. So I guess it's best to get out when you're young and you've made a hell of a ton of money. So can't be mad at him. Uh, More notable signings of the NFL free agency. Well, before I get to the signings, I'll say I do know some players left their old teams without being signed yet, such as like Odell Beckham. He went to the Ravens, and I guess to have a good season, and he literally shit the bed. He literally was non-existent. I'm pretty sure he was healthy most of the season, and if he wasn't, he might have missed a couple games. But he really shit the bed. He didn't do a fucking thing, and especially in the AFC Championship, he literally had one catch or two catches for like 30 yards. Fucking worthless. Even though he is very talented and I do like him, don't come to Cowboys unless you're going to ball the fuck out. But yeah, more than likely you're not. So don't come. But he's the only notable one that I can think of that hasn't been signed to another team yet. But as far as free agency, actual signings to other teams, I got a whole list for you. Just over this weekend, Russell Wilson to the Steelers. Then less than 24 hours, Kenny Pickett traded. Where the hell did he go? Yeah, he went to Philly, which is crazy because just like Justin Fields went to the Steelers to be a backup for Russell Wilson, whereas Kenny Pickett is going to Philly to be a backup for Jalen Hurts. Chicago and Pittsburgh really didn't believe in Justin Fields and Kenny Pickett, which I think the only reason why the Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett is because he played in Pitt. He played at Pitt, and by the way, eat shit Pitt. But he played at Pitt, and he played in that building. Everybody was familiar with him, so I thought maybe they might think that was like a hometown kid hero thing. Obviously, didn't fucking pan out. Might be his hand size. I'm pretty sure they said that he had small hands, kind of like Joe Burrow when he came out of college. Everybody was always talking about how small his fucking hands are. But regardless of the fact, it didn't really pan out. It sucked. He had almost more turnovers than touchdowns. It was kind of close, which is pathetic. But it just wasn't a good fit. And I kind of hoped it was though, just because I would have liked to see that hometown hero kid thing. But Chicago kind of really fucked Justin Fields over because he had almost no chance to succeed. Different coaches, coordinators, all of this, that, and the third. But on the other hand, I would say I'm kind of glad that he is gone because the backup, Tyson Bagent, is hometown pride right here. He's from Martinsburg, West Virginia, right where I'm standing or sitting right now. And I can't be more than so excited to have seen him become the starter. But being a D2 player and stuff like that, and he did get to play 4 games this past season, went 2-2, which isn't great but isn't terrible. So maybe that'd be great if he were to get picked up by someone or they cut him or to make cap space and he get picked up by someone else and has a better opportunity. But we all know Chicago is they're gonna draft Caleb Williams, which I'm not sold on. Yeah, he played pretty well 2 years ago for USC. But this past season, he didn't do shit besides cry in his mom's arms, write fuck you or whatever he put on his nails. and stuff like that. I think statistically he had a good year, but I really don't think that he is going to be a superstar franchise quarterback, say like a Pat Mahomes or I don't know, even fucking Dak Prescott. I could be wrong. If not, that's cool because as long as Tyson Bagent's there, that means he's winning too, and I'd be happy for that. But I don't honestly think Caleb Williams is going to be some incredible, Patrick Mahomes 2.0, but I could be wrong. I don't know. It's only happened like once or twice in my life, so, chances are in my favor, so we'll see. Um, so we got Kirk Cousins going to the ATL down in the Dirty Dirty, which he's on the Mount Rushmore of businessmen when it comes to NFL. He almost all his contracts are guaranteed. I think this one that he just signed is for like 190 million, and it's he's coming off an Achilles injury just like Aaron Rodgers, and he's 33, 35, something like that. I mean, more power to you, man. I ain't gonna be mad at you for getting your money, but ATL, you dumb motherfuckers. You guys are stupid. You could have had Justin Fields, who's 10 years younger, or if not more. Could have had a brighter upside, but Kirk Cousins. You went with Kirk Cousins, who only has one playoff year in his 13 years of playing. So yeah, good luck with that one. Can't get mad at Kirk Cousins though. Like I said, because he's getting that money. I'll never be mad at someone for that. So we'll see how that plays out. He does got a bomb squad, B. John Robinson, and all those guys there, and we'll see how that plays out. Uh, Cowboys, they literally did nothing, which is I kind of is suspected because they don't really do a lot during free agency. It's always within for trades in the uh hold on. Breaking news right now. Chase Young plans to sign 1 year, fully guaranteed $13 million deal with the Saints. So Chase Young, who went from the Commanders to the Super Bowl with the 49ers, didn't do a damn thing. And they almost didn't even start him for that game. Now he's going to sign with the Saints, who are pretty much abysmal as well. So get that money, guy. I guess whatever. Uh, he just ain't been the same since his whole fiasco with his knee. That type of stuff's hard to come back. But even though he's young and everything, he just really has not been the same. Since he got hurt. So we'll see how he does down there in New Orleans. Um, I, I guess he's addition in addition instead of like a neutral or subtraction because he's still a good player. He just wasn't this past year as dominant as he was his first couple years in Washington. So we'll see. But like I was saying, Cowboys did nothing besides they signed linebacker Eric Kendricks from the Chargers, which is he's a stud, and we needed some interior linebackering. Maybe the Cowboys knew that Leighton Vander Esch was going to retire, so they got him to fill that void. I don't know. But I'm hoping we can still get a couple more defensive players in the draft to, you know, stop that run because I think the run, killed us last season. We were, I think, 16th, 17th, 15th, 17th, somewhere in that range. We were in the middle of the pack, and, I'm pretty sure if I recall when we played Green Bay, they just fucking ran the ball down our throat. So maybe if we had some protection in there, might have been a different story, and maybe it would have been, might have still been 49ers in the Super Bowl, but who knows? It could have been us. But I think they have signed some other, not notable players, and I didn't do my research that in depth, but um, I'm not sure if Stephon Gilmore is going to stay. Uh, I think we did sign a quarterback or a safety, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see how all that plays out. But like I said, Cowboys don't really do anything within free agency. It's all within the trade deadline and the within the season. So and the draft, which they've been pretty decent in the draft the past like 5 6 years or whenever ever since they drafted Dak and Zeke and stuff. They've actually been pretty decent uh, for the draft. And Tony Pollard's gone now, and all we have is Deuce Vaughn, which is he's about half the size of me as far as height, but he was a stud at Kansas State. So maybe with him getting a starting job, maybe he might be able to do something for us. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. But if it was my choice, another running back, at least via trade or somehow in free agency, whether we just sign them or something. Uh, I'd take another. I think Michael Gallup is gone, so I'd like to have another receiver because they use CD for the slot a lot. So I'd like to have an outside receiver. Uh, another another linebacker would be fantastic, and maybe another DE. Get those, and I think, and they don't even have to be like great, just be like somewhat of a stud, and I think we'll be straight. All we just need, and I don't know how you guys feel about Dak. I really really like him, but I just don't think he can get us there. I don't think that he can take us to the promised land and bring us a Super Bowl. I don't know what it is. Uh, he just makes the wrong decision. He just try to force things, and just like when we played against Green Bay, he threw what 3 4 interceptions again. So I don't know. I like him a lot, and I would love to see him be the one to take us there. But I just don't know, and especially with uh, his contract and getting basically max amount of money and not restructuring it down the line to get better players or get more players and stuff like that to help the team out. That kind of rubs him wrong too because Patrick Mahomes has already done it since his biggest uh, contract a few years ago, well, like 3 or 4 years ago. He's already restructured it 2 or 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. So, and you see what they've been doing, win the fucking Super Bowl every year, pretty much. So, I don't know what they're going to do, but I will say I'm not I'm not one of those fans who say this is their year, this is their year. I'm never like that. I will never trust fully in the Dallas Cowboys until they're hoisting up a Super Bowl trophy. That would be the only time that I'll believe in them 100%. So we'll see how next season goes. But another free agent, Tyler Huntley to the Browns as a backup to Deshaun Watson. He's going to be a journeyman backup, like a lot of these quarterbacks. That means Joe Flacco is out, and if I'm not mistaken, he's signed to the Colts, which then leaves Gardner Minshew out, and he signed with the Raiders. So he's another journeyman. Well, he's not really a backup because Jimmy Garoppolo was gone, so I guess he'll be the starter for them. I guess depends on what they do in the draft. I don't know. They need a quarterback, obviously, and unless they trade up, they're not going to get Caleb Williams. I guess Drake May or Jaden Daniels, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know what pick they have, to be honest. But Tyler Huntley in, Joe Flacco out, Joe Flacco in, Gardner Minshew out. The quarterback carousel. Baker and Mike Evans are staying in Tampa Bay, which is great. I love Baker Mayfield, and uh, I wish he would have. I wish they could have made it work in Cleveland. I thought that was a really good fit for him, but just like with Justin Fields, he just had so many coaches, coordinators and fucking head coaches and new schemes and playbooks. It's just you almost can't blame Baker for not succeeding in Cleveland, but the whole OBJ and his dad talking shit about Baker and all this other shit. I don't know. It is what it is, but uh, Mike Evans wants to be a book for the rest of his career, which is this is what's telling me. So hopefully he can do that. And I think even with Baker Mayfield, this was his best season of his career statistically. And Mike Evans had another 1,000 yard season. So I think if they can get another piece or two, they could be very dangerous because they were dangerous in the playoffs last year. No one expected them to really go as far as they did, even though it was like the second round, but no one even expected them to win the first round. So I'm happy to see that. Hopefully, they can continue to build on what they did last year. So we'll see about that. Hollywood Brown to the Chiefs. We all knew the Chiefs had Butterfingers last year. No one could catch the damn ball, until it mattered. Michael Valdez Scantling caught that ball in the Super Bowl for the win, got him that first down. So I guess all his drops from last season they're wiped clean because he made a game winning catch. But what was his name? I don't fucking forgot. Everyone knows him. Everyone knows what the fuck his name is. They didn't even fucking play the last 5 6 weeks because they just got tired of him dropping the ball. I don't even know if he's still there or not. But Hollywood Brown, he's a great route runner. He can catch the ball. He's fucking fast as shit. He's strong. He can block. So I think that's a good pickup for them, and it's kind of dirt cheap if I'm not mistaken. So that might be a key component into helping them get to that three-peat that no one has ever done. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how it goes for next season. Austin Eckler to the Skins, well, not the Skins, the Commandos. I don't know if anybody knows, but there is a petition out there for them to have the Redskins name come back. I don't know how legitimate it is, but I've seen it for the past couple years floating around online, and nothing has happened yet. So I don't know how accurate it is, but that would be good to see them be the Washington Redskins again. But Austin Eckler's joining Dan Quinn on the in there, and there's a bunch of other notable players. Some have left the Cowboys and went to Washington, and some other players have went to Washington just for Dan Campbell because he's a good coach. And Austin Eckler, this is a chance to you know uh, start anew because yeah, I didn't feel like he really had that great of a past 2 years or so, with the last team. And like I said, he comes in here, he wants to prove something like, oh, you motherfuckers, want to get rid of me, and then I'm gonna show you what's up. And maybe he'll ball out this year. I think Washington could be a sleeper team in the NFC East. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but it could be close. The Giants are obviously they're not even in the conversation. And I'll get to them here in a second. But Cowboys, they're always, in the position to win. Philly, I just feel like they're just a fucking really good team. The backup to Jason Kelsey, if you watch their podcast, him and Travis's podcast, he's really excited to see his backup. I forget his name. He thinks that he'll step in and do a really good job for them. So we'll see about that. Fletcher Cox is gone, so we'll see, what their interior defense looks like. Um, Lane Johnson is still there. You got Devontae Adams. You got fucking AJ Brown. They're just a stacked team. They're a fucking stacked team. And Jalen Hurts and their coach he's fucking legit too. So Cowboys, Philly, and possibly Washington. If Philly has a shitty year like they did last year, I could see Washington coming up and getting into that second place. And they always play Dallas pretty good and pretty close. So depending on how that series goes, 1-1, 0-2, 2-0, they could just quietly sneak in there and win the division. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes as well. But like I said, the Giants ain't gonna do a fucking thing because Saquon is also on Philly. I just now totally forgot about that. So AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, fucking the fucking tight end. I can't even think of his names. I want to say Mark Andrews, but that's not it. It's not Zach Ertz, I don't believe. I forget what the hell his name is off the top of my head, but all that's a stud cast right there. Like, it's a fucking stud cast. That's a scary um, roster. And I really wanted Saquon. I thought since Tony Pollard was going to leave, that Cowboys would either try to get Saquon or Derrick Henry. I wanted those two really bad, but it just didn't work out. And now we're left with literally nobody. Deuce Vaughn, which is, what is he, 5'5"? I don't know. He's fast as shit, but we got big boys. There's big boys in the NFL, not you know some people looking like me, buck 80 out there trying to fucking play linebacker, and you running over them. So we'll have to wait and see about that. Josh Jacobs to the Packers. Aaron Jones is another one that I really wanted for the Cowboys. Didn't get him. So we got fucked on that. Thanks, Jerry Jones. So Josh Jacobs to the Packers after they release Aaron Jones, and Calvin Ridley to the Titans. Derrick Henry to the Ravens, that's going to be a bomb fucking squad too. Derek, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. That's going to be an unstoppable RPO offense. What are you going to do? You fake it to Derrick Henry, Lamar's going to just blow right by you because he's fast as hell. You pass it to Derrick Henry, you're going to need three guys to get him down because he's just strong as hell and he'll run you over. And if he picks up a full hit of steam, you're done. You almost are not. You're almost not going to stop him. It's almost like beast mode in Seattle against the Saints when they literally every single player on the team tried to tackle him. They just couldn't do it. So that's going to be a dangerous combo, and I mean they might get back to where they were and be in the AFC championship again next year if all goes right. And you know, winning three in a row, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to do it. Could be wrong. It would be great to see like history like that made in my lifetime. I don't really care who it is. If it's obviously the Cowboys, but if it's the Chiefs, it's the Chiefs. That's totally fine with me. Uh, but yeah, Derrick Henry to the Ravens, Mac Jones to the Jags, the backup Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people were talking that Trevor Lawrence he ain't built like that, and he's not living up to his hype. And I remember when he was in college in Clemson, he was a boss. He was a fucking stud. And just like a lot of quarterbacks in the college game, when they come to the NFL, they just don't live up to expectations. And it's not necessarily their fault, but just the NFL is an entirely different game, entirely different animal, and you're going against grown ass men, not some Joe Schmo who's decent at football, but isn't going anywhere outside of whoever you're playing. Appalachian State's pretty fucking good here the past few years, but whoever, Iowa State. So maybe they think Mac Jones might have some talent to get Trevor Lawrence to say, "Hey man, I need to get this shit going because if not, he's gonna take my fucking job." I hope not because I like Trevor Lawrence, but you know, Mac Jones had that one his rookie season was fucking fantastic, and I guess ever since that, everyone was on his nuts up until this past year when no one fucking liked him. So we'll have to wait and see. I've been saying we'll have to wait and see this whole time, but we literally will have to wait and see until August, September, when the preseason and regular season starts up again. Uh, so, in my opinion, the best impact free agency signing, who would that be? Best impact. Best impact. Best impact. I might have to say Saquon because um, Swift didn't do a lot last year, and Saquon was playing for the Giants. The Giants are ass. Now, if Philly can fix their offensive line just a little bit and get a little bit more protection, I think Saquon can run wild all over the fucking league. It might be his best year yet as a pro, and and I hope so for him, but I hope not because then that means more wins for Philly, and unless Dallas is keeping up with them, then we're not going to win the division, and I can't have that. If it's not Dallas, then I don't want nobody to win it. So I would have to say Saquon Barkley. I think that's an extremely good pickup for them, and or even Derrick Henry. It would have to be one of those two. One of those two. You can't go wrong with either one. Derrick Henry and Lamar is going to be outstanding. And like I said, if Saquon can get just a little, if they can, that offensive line can get just a little bit better, they'll be fucking. He'll have a great year because he can catch it and run and block. So you get him out of the backfield on a screen. He can take it to the house. All they need is just that little bit of all that little bit of upgrade on the offensive line. Winner and losers signing so far. Uh, I want to say Pittsburgh because they got two starters. Granted, Russell Wilson isn't let Russ cook anymore, and uh, Fields. I think he has a lot more upside. I think if he got in the right not program, but the right scheme and the right organization and stuff like that. Mike Tomlin is a fucking great coach. I hate the Steelers too, but I love Mike Tomlin. I would fucking play for him any day because he cares. He knows what he's talking about. He stands on his business, and he don't play no shit. So I just don't know. Russell Wilson, he's not let Russ cook anymore, but he did have a decent season last year. Shit, I don't know. Winners and losers signing so far. Losers so far, I might have to say Dallas because they only got one player, but Calvin Ridley to Titans that would be good, but Titans aren't anything. Um, I guess it really kind of just depends on what you're looking for a team to pick up. Pittsburgh they needed a quarterback. They got two of them. Titans need some some help for Will Levis. Calvin Ridley's there. Uh, Derrick Henry is could be the core piece or that final little piece to help Baltimore get to the Super Bowl and dethrone the Chiefs. That could be a hell of a win right there. Saquon to Philly, same thing. Bolster his career again and maybe help Philly get back to the Super Bowl. I don't know. There's just Mike or Hollywood Brown to the Chiefs. That he could be if they didn't have half of those. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because they won the fucking Super Bowl regardless. But say would they go 10-7, 11-6 or something? They could have went 14-3 if they didn't have all those fucking drops and everything. They could have had an incredible year last year, but maybe Hollywood Brown can alleviate all those drops and they have a better seeding into the playoffs. I mean, at this point, it doesn't fucking matter. Chiefs could go on the road. They can be at home. They can be a lower seed. They can. It doesn't matter if they literally can do anything, which is incredible. So as far as winners and losers, I think it might have to go with what you feel a team needed and that they got or what they needed and they didn't get. Um, because I'm biased. We got like I said that linebacker, but I mean, we didn't make a big splash, so I guess that's just me wanting them to do more, and they didn't. So I don't know. So, and the expectation sleeper team to make a playoff push based on their signing: Philly, Baltimore, uh, Philly, Baltimore. The Packers might be good. Well, I don't know because Aaron Jones was a fucking stud too, man. Uh, I'd say I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say the Browns because who knows what the fuck Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson is healthy, and then he could play. A lot of people don't think that he's played very well, but the what 6 games that he actually played last year, he fucking balled out. He did really good. Aside from all the off field bullshit, uh, he played really fucking good. So potentially, if the Browns can, and they did make the playoffs last year, they got bounced in the first round, but if and because of Joe Flacco and fucking throwing 20 interceptions, but if Watson can play 80% of what he did in Houston, and the team is actually healthy, they could be dangerous. It could be Baltimore, obviously the Chiefs, the Browns. Uh, I don't want to say the Steelers. Steelers were always a sleeper team because they just don't have a losing season. So I feel like if they get in and they can start clicking on all cylinders. Um, yeah, uh, the Browns I think because I would really like to see them actually do something. I really want to see the Chiefs win the Super Bowl for a three-peat. I would like to see a Super Bowl come to Baltimore because I live so close to it. I would like to see the Browns win a Super Bowl because one of my best friends is from Cleveland, or he's from Ohio anyway, not far from Cleveland. Uh, Philly, I want to say I don't want to see them win it because they just won it, what, 8 years ago or 6, 7 years ago. So you know, if I had to pick one, it definitely would be Cleveland, I think. So what I've covered so far: retirements, free agency, my picks as to winners and losers, what my expectations are for who had the best signing to get them to the next level as far as making the playoffs or hell even reaching the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. And who's going to make the best impact on their new teams based off of the free agency signings. So, like I said, it's totally crazy fucking free agency so far. I want to thank Jordan James and Sam Bam for bringing me onto the Let Loose platform. Hopefully, I can start doing more of these videos. Life has just been life, and just been busy and stuff like that. But if all goes well, I'm looking to get into doing this stuff more often, and hopefully be on the podcast with them more often. So thank you to them, thank you to you, and you know I ain't trying to be uh, Russell Wilson let's ride thing, but let loose, I guess you could say. So thanks again, and we'll see you later.